answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you. Take care of you. Take care of you. You on and on. You never gave me an answer. Am I the only one? I didn't know it was over. Take care of you.
Hello everybody, can you guys hear me all right? Testing 1 2 3. I'm so excited to have a chance to chat today with all of you guys about a really important topic, which is how do you gamify your workspace and how do you bring people into your workspace so that you can work together with them to go on quests together and to most importantly slay those dragons and be very much in tune with each other's daily wins, weekly wins, and just really be together and intentionally together as you are progressing through life. And in this way, we're calling it having multiplayer for personal development. This is actually a very interesting topic because a lot of times when we are trying to go out there and improve ourselves, pursue personal development, pursue growth, it may seem like we're alone on this journey. It may seem like we are by ourselves. Nobody else understands the problems that we're trying to face. Nobody understands the quests we're going on, the mission that we have that that's calling our name and guiding us. And we could really use the understanding that we're not alone, that there's other people that may have similar journeys as us, and most importantly, if we ever fall down, if we ever slow down, someone can be there to pick us up and help us continue our journey. So this is a very important stream, at least for me, in regards to describing to you the whole journey of kind of how you can integrate someone into your gamified workspace, right? And also have a chance to explain to you how each of those components work so that you know for yourself how you can plug and play, because everyone's different. Everyone has different ways of how they would approach this concepts of multiplayer for personal development and really just give you the options of how you can get together with your friends and family to have this workspace where you are deeply connected and working together on common objectives, common goals, and common projects. And of course, also, how can you be working on your own thing and still stay engaged with your friends and family? So let's get started. I'm going to switch over to my view and let's see how we can start. And if you also want to work along, please do. This is an entirely collaborative stream. It's intended for you to build together with me so that if you have any questions, you can just ask me. I'm always very happy to answer them. And I'd love to hear from all of you guys in the chat, you know, what exactly are you, like who exactly are you going to invite into your workspace? If you could, who would you want to be more in tune with? It could be, you know, a friend, a best friend, it could be a colleague at work, you know, it could be your friends and your family, rather, your brothers and sisters, your parents. Personally, I use a system together with my parents and my siblings so that we are very engaged. I live away from home. I have lived away from home since I was 18, and it's always been a really nice experience whenever I'm able to catch up with them on things that really matter to them. If I'm able to catch up with my sister, for example, on what she's working on as she's going through university, and if I'm able to catch up with my mom on what she's working on now that she's, you know, semi-retired, I love that because I'm able to really gain an appreciation of, you know, why they're doing the things they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, and then more importantly, how can I plug in to be helpful for their journey? So if you are joining us right now and you want to really just learn how to do it for yourself, do open up your own system as well. I'm going to be building on the Gamify Your Life system. I will also show you how this works on the L control system, just in case you want a second, you know, look at it, but it's pretty much the same process. And hi everybody, good to see everyone joining in now. It's going to be a good one, good stream. So I also wanted to show you guys where you guys can find more information about these kind of topics in the future. I am currently building up a big repository called the Coix3 Academy. I've talked about this in a previous stream, but this is a new repository that is just going to continuously have more and more information be added to it that are going to help you understand the details of each component of the system. I know there's a lot in the system now. We've been building it for over a year, and I don't want to get overwhelmed. I want you to make sure that if you ever want more detailed information on exactly how something works, for example, let's say the areas of competence, you'll learn exactly why we built this, what does it do, and how does it work down to the, you know, individual properties. And you can see things like my recommended views. You know, you can understand what, you know, each big concept means inside each of these different articles. And yeah, it's just gonna be pretty nice. And if you ever need that kind of help, it's there for you. So I love it. And so for this stream, I do want to also be showing you how I build this, how I would build an article that would explain everything, because it also would help me in the sense if when I'm explaining these concepts and I'm writing it down and documenting it for future people to read, to make sure that, you know, it's really usable, right? I'd love that feedback from you guys because it gives me the opportunity to learn and grow. And of course, it gives me an opportunity, it gives you the opportunity to be the first to influence anything that comes out. So love that. Alyssa, good to see you. And I think Sade might be the perfect person for you. And of course, I mean, you can also play with us as well if you'd like. I think that'll be fun. And saying that he would do it, she would do it with her son Joe. I think that's great. You know, definitely connecting better with your immediate family members is also a very big goal of here. So anyway, let's explain why, what, and how, yeah? Because that's how we normally start our streams. And this time I'm going to start it in this page instead of the usual page I started it. I'm going to zoom in a bit just so I can help you guys read it a little bit better. But I'm going to go quick. I just want to explain, you know, the why, what's, and hows. And I think it's pretty obvious, but let me just explain again. So why do we build this template? Why do we want multiplayer? Well, we want a way to bring multiplayer to personal development. We want to be able to stay in touch with the true things, with the true motivations that drive our friends and family to do what they do. We want to be engaged with their successes and supportive when they need help, where they need help most, where they need it. So let's try again. So we want a way to bring multiplayer to personal development. We want to be able to stay in touch with the true motivations that drive our friends and family to do what they do. Maybe we can just say the motivations, don't need to be the true motivations. And we want to be engaged with our loved ones' successes and be supportive wherever they need help the most. So that's a big whys behind all of this. So what does it do, right? What do we hope that this workspace, this gamified workspace, will bring to our community members, will bring to our friends and family? And I believe my face is blocking some of the text, so I'm going to just move it down. So what does it do, right? Well, it connects multiple workspaces. Maybe I can say it like this. It connects this intricate gamification engine, connects multiple success plans into one master database that enables us to create avatars for each new member that joins our workspace. And then what it does there is that this means that any inputs into the system, so success plan, daily quests, areas of, or let's say not use areas, but use knowledge hub, week recurring review cycles are shared amongst the workspace members, so that and showcased in a way that enables true collaboration and empathy for each other. So that's kind of what it's going to do. Yeah, it neurolinks our second brains. That's actually beautiful. Oh my gosh, John, I love that. In essence, it neurolinks our second brains. I love that. Thank you so much, Sean. That is so much value. And yes, we do want to have fun. I think that's very important. Okay, so this is why, this is what, and now let's get into how. Okay, so I'm going to explain this bit by bit. If you get lost, let me know. I will explain it again, because there are very important concepts here that I'd like to express. So normally you can go to the build your own system, and inside here we have a page, and I'm going to also zoom in a little bit for this page just so that you guys can see this a bit better. But you can see there's a add new players, right? And this is found in the advanced mode. There's just a simple video here, but the video is outdated, which is going to get replaced by this video today, which is awesome. Say hi. Say hi to new viewers that are going to watch this. But essentially, what we want to do is we want to go into the back end and understand how everything connects. So I'm going to spend a little time to explain that, just so that you know how it works if you ever want to customize it for yourself, because there's still a lot of things that you could customize if you wanted to. So as always, you can explore the backend by just scrolling down to the bottom of the page and seeing the system. And I'm going to open up the leaderboard, and I'm going to open up gamification tags. And now that I open this up, basically I can see that this leaderboard has a bunch of setup, right? It is involved in adding new players, personalizing your avatar, bringing your pets, yada yada. And also I have a database at the bottom. It also has a dashboard at the Infinite Fantasy world. Awesome. Similarly, opening this, the gamification tags, I can see that it's involved in quite a few things, and adding new players, creating your badges, personalizing your avatar, bringing your pets. Wow, there's quite a few things that, use this, right? And of course, also there's this gamification tags here. Okay, so let's explain each bit by bit, shall we? So I'm going to open up this view just to show you. But basically inside gamification tags, there are already set up 3 different users. What do I mean by that? Well, right now we have a 5-minute task, a 25-minute task, which these two are the same, a big win, and also this is a huge win. You can see that in this example here. Maybe I can just sort this by description so that it makes it easier so that you can see a bit better. So I'm going to sort by description. You can see 25, 5-minute, big win, huge win, and each one has 3. So why is there 3, right? Well, the way that the system currently works is that for every single task that you do or every single daily quest that you have, it is relating to a specific gamification tag. And depending on which person that database is, managing, right? If it's a daily quest for myself, then I would relate all of them to me. And because this is just the basic template, this is a fresh template, I haven't edited anything yet, there's actually a step inside your tutorial that asks you to change anything with YA, which just stands for your avatar, to your own name, right? Because that's, you. This is going to be you that's going to be playing the game from now on. So always just know YA is always player 1, okay? YA is player 1. So I also set it up so that it's very easy for you to add new players, right? By setting up the additional people that may be inside your workspace. I set up something called MF. MF, I just, it's my friend, right? It's just an example, a placeholder for a friend that you might invite into your workspace. And what you would see actually, when you go to the leaderboard, and I'm going to just open up the human leaderboard for a second, what you can see is that, and let's use the visual. So what you'll see is that there's actually the corresponding avatars as well. There is your avatar, right, which you will personalize. There's the one with my friend, and this is the one that is going to be any new people coming into your workspace. And of course, there's a placeholder for myself. I just put it there in case you wanted a third person to join you on your journey. And once you get the first one down, it's very, very easy to get the second, third, fourth, keep adding friends in as you'd like. But it's really important just to understand the first step, first. Okay, so some quick things to also note. Basically, what happens is the gamification tags will do the heavy work of calculating all of the inputs from all the different databases that come in to give its value. So essentially, if I open up the gamification tags to a full page, you can see all the different inputs that are coming in. First of all, this is a simple view. You can see that, okay, there's the character that it relates to. Earlier, you just saw that there is your avatar, right? And you can see all the things of YA is linking up to your avatar. Awesome, okay? And essentially, that's what would drive the experience points in gold values that you've already earned, and make sure that's on the leaderboard, it's showing exactly what you've earned. So if you can see here, right, and you'll be able to notice it here, there's actually 925 EXP plus 5 plus 325 plus 287.5, and that comes up to the total EXP of 1542. Okay, and then similarly for gold, you have 2.6k plus 5, and therefore you have 2,605 gold showing here. So you can already see that's how it's summing everything up. And I'll of course explain the exact property that does that, but just bear with me for a second, right? So what's useful here, right, when you're thinking about building new people, is that you already see that we have these relations already built for you up to 3 people. So if you're building up to 3 people, you will actually not need to change anything from the leaderboard. Okay, the leaderboard is already good. All you have to do is just change the name of the person that it's actually related to. So for example, your avatar, for yourself, change that to your name and change the image to something that better represents you, similar with the other two. And that's it. You don't need to do anything more in terms of complex database management. I've already managed all that for you. So hopefully that makes it a lot easier. What you will have to manage is the decision of how you're going to start assigning these tags in the future. And let me explain what that means. So right now, let's say I open up one of the YA tasks. So let's do a 25-minute YA. And I'm going to expand all the properties here. And there's quite a few, but I've sectioned it off to make it hopefully a lot easier for you to understand. Okay, so let's see the YA section. The YA section basically has a few important properties that I'd like to highlight. You have something here called the EXP multiplier, and you have something here called the difficulty gold. What this means is that they are roll-ups. They're rolling up on the success plan, right? And in this case, the success plan it's showing the multiplier, which is just the number. If you remember, actually, let me just open it up. No need to remember. Let me open up the success plan. And let me just start explaining bit by bit how this works. And of course, if you do feel like it's getting a bit complex, just let me know. I will slow down and explain it to you. Or of course, feel free to rewatch this stream after we're done shooting. So you see, I'm just expanding everything just to make it a bit more, you can see a bit more, but actually let me use a task. It's probably better. Let's use a quest. Okay, let's use a quest and let's use this one. Okay, so difficulty number. A lot of people have been asking me about what is difficulty number. Well, difficulty number is essentially the number times the amount of time that you think it's going to take. So if I'm doing a task, and for a task, I would use 25-minute task or 5-minute task. If I pick 3, this means that this completed item has taken me 1.5 hours, taking me 3 Pomodoro chunks. The reason why I like doing that is just because it helps me really gauge like how heavy this workload is going to be. Well, it's going to take me 3 chunks of work, right? I'm going to take 2 breaks in between, but it's going to take me 3 chunks, and I have the option to decide, am I going to do it all in one go? Or I'm going to do it in different sections and perhaps have some switching cost that's going to be involved in that. So it's very important for me, at least, to be able to track that. And what's more important too is that when I'm tracking that difficulty of this quest, right? Obviously, if it's a tougher task, I should be more rewarded for it. Makes sense. So if it's a tougher task and difficulty is higher, this essentially relates, or there's a formula that would help me translate that difficulty number into a multiplier. So you see that the 3 becomes a 3 right here. And this multiplier gets fed back into gamification tags and becomes a multiplier. And why I use multiplier word, because it multiplies on how many success plan items are finished and multiplies by the base experience points. So very important stuff. If I ever, let's say, if I made this not complete, okay, just as an example, because it's always good to see examples. Let's say that this became incomplete. So let's change it back to in progress. Immediately, this number will drop down. You see that just dropped, right? From 37 to 34. That's because there's a formula here that says, hey, if this status is not complete, I will show 0 for multiplier instead of 3. And only when I show that this status is complete, right, that this multiplier becomes 3, and therefore in gamification tags, this becomes 37, because it's rolling up a very specific property called multiplier from our success plan. So how this works is that when you create a new task, right, and if you're using our templates to create new tasks, you'd know that it actually would automatically fill out. So if I do new awesome task quest and I edit this template to show you, I always default it to 1 difficulty for 25 minutes for your avatar. This can be changed, of course, right? You can add new templates and whatever you want. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that when you're creating any single task, project, key results, or goal, the tags will automatically be filled out for you so that you actually would have that relation to gamification tags, so that when you complete these items, you have a corresponding reward that comes from the gamification project. And similarly with gold. And for gold, there's actually a very interesting concept here. And let me show you what I mean. So for gold, you can see that I have a check mark that says, should this earn gold or not? Okay, right here. So if I say this should earn gold, then immediately the formula that governs this total gold would start calculating how much gold I should earn based on how many quests I've accomplished. And of course, also factoring the difficulty. But if I uncheck this gold, immediately becomes 0. And if I uncheck that gold inside our leaderboard, that also becomes from, I think it was 2,605 to just 5. So all this information is completely dynamic, and you can already see how simple it is to edit, right? I'm already just turning things on and off, and you can already see that there's an immediate effect on our system. I promised you earlier that I will also show you how the leaderboard works. So let me just quickly open it up and just show you how that works. Again, if you're playing up to 3 people, you don't need to worry about this. It's, knowledge that is not entirely necessary. Leave that to me to worry about, to make sure you get the benefits that you want. But if you really just want to know, essentially there's also roll-ups here that roll up the experience earned, right? And again, it's rolling up off the tags. So it's making sure that it knows, hey, these YA tags are related to your avatar. And therefore I want to sum up the total EXP, and that becomes information here. Same with the total gold. And then that becomes then information that builds up my character page, right? My character sheet. So that's very, very important. Now, going back to gamification tags, I want to say that there are 2 ways that you can start working with other people inside your workspace. And the first way is very simple, and the second way is a bit more complex. So of course, it's up to you to decide which one, and I will explain the pros and cons of each. So what the first thing that you can do, the easiest thing, right, is if you have a success plan, and you already are going to notice that I alluded to this earlier. Let's say that you're working as a team on some projects, right? And this is relevant for people who are, working on group projects together, perhaps even at work. You guys are working on something together in the workplace. What you can do is you can say, hey, let's open a project, for example. Let's do a project. It'll be very interesting. Okay, let's do a project and let's take on this leadership role at work. Okay, whatever this is. So there are a few tasks here, right? And these first few tasks might be something that you are doing. And again, if you remember, if you're doing them, I'm going to open up to make sure you know it is YA, right? And of course, if you rename YA, it's whatever your initials are. Great. But if you open a new task, let's say I open a new task and I say, hey, this is a new task for Bob, let's say, okay? And you want Bob to be working on this. Well, what will happen here is that you might still use the new awesome task just to generate the relevant properties. But for this tag, you're not going to use YA. You're going to use MF, my friend, right? It's going to be a 25-minute task for your friend to do. Okay, and then you're going to take off your name. If you wanted to, you can both also earn points for the same thing. If you both have this tag, if it says YA and MF, then you'll both earn the experience points in gold that's allocated for this task if it's completed. Okay, so why do I ever recommend this? Well, I recommend it in cases where it's okay for you guys to share all the information found inside your success plan, inside your knowledge hub, inside your daily quest. It's really intended for real collaboration between people that you are working on shared contexts with. So again, a company makes perfect sense, or even like group projects if you like to use it that way. And all you would have to do to make sure that they have access to what you need them to access to You would just need them to have access to the success plan page, right? If you want them to bring on success plan, maybe access to your daily quest if they're also adding to your daily quest, if you have a shared daily quest together. And you know what? All you have to do is just click the share button, right? And then you can add new people to your workspace just like this, and you can add them as a guest. And for Notion, I believe if you have a personal plan, you can have up to 5 guests. If you're using our team plan because you're a member of our community, you can have unlimited guests. So have fun with that. So a lot of really good things here, right? And you can add people. Why don't you want to do it? You know, when would you not want to add people in this way? Well, if you don't want them to see everything and anything about your success plan, right? If this is your private database, right? And we have private goals and you have private projects and tasks and everything like that, it is dangerous for them to have direct control over your database. Now, don't get me wrong. The second option, because currently Notion doesn't have an API yet that would help you with this user permission management, the second way also will also expose your data to them. I'm just being very clear. If you're sharing a workspace with someone else and you are giving them access to join your leaderboard and have an avatar there, they will be able to see everything. Otherwise, what will happen is if you start blocking off access to view your success plan, your stuff will show as private for them. So maybe that's something you want to do. You can turn that on and off when you're just trying to show them what you want to show them. Anyways, it's really up to you. But I just wanted to make that clear, is that this kind of integration is intended for people who really want to bring people into the fold of their lives and understand anything and everything about them. So what I recommend here is when you want to do the first option I mentioned, and I will write this down so that you know exactly in a text format what I just explained. But if you want them to be involved in your success plan, you're going to do a few things. You can add them on in your success plan in the share button, and you can add them into here, which I think is much better than adding them into that specific page, because you can have more user permission control here. And the second thing is to make it easier for them to collaborate. You can also add new templates for them. You can just duplicate the template for any of these, and then instead of having YA be the autofill for the tags, have MF or whatever MF becomes, whatever your friend's initials are. I'm going to write down the details I just mentioned there. If you have any questions, ask me now. I will answer them. And I'll also show you an example, I guess, of how that works with an example person. And then I'll show you the second option, which is having separate entry databases where everybody has their own versions of the success plan, of Knowledge Hub, of Daily Quest and everything, so that there is more segregation and you don't have to be confused by always seeing other people's, goals, projects, key results, everything inside your success plan when you're working on it. And it makes it a bit more cleaner. Yeah. Hi, Adriana. Glad to see you. Thank you for supporting us. Really happy to see you here. And if you have any questions for me to answer, we're currently talking about how you can add new players to your gamification workspace. And I'm just doing some documentation to explain what I've just shared. So I don't think you'll miss too much. Okay, how does it work? I'm going to just explain the 2 steps. Let's see. We can single entry databases. So this is method 2, method 1. Sorry, this is method 1 right here. Method 2, separate entry databases. And then let's talk about pros and let's talk about cons, all right? And I just explained them earlier, but I will explain them again just to make sure we know. So I'm going to make this header 1. I'm also going to make this header 1 so you can read this better. How does it work? By the way, guys, drink water. Don't forget to hydrate yourself. Awesome. Okay, so the pros obviously is a very quick setup. No need for heavy customization or further duplication. Cons is your will simply have to set up a few new views and filters to help your friends and family have a specific set up views, set up filters, to have a specific view to see only their own tasks, their own success plan items, etc. You will be sharing one daily quest. So who is it good for? Maybe couples would be good. Call workplace settings. So these are all okay, so there's one more cons here. Cons, your database will be very exposed to your friends on the leaderboard, and there is the potential they may accidentally change your entries. You'll be sharing one daily quest. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so the pros is very quick setup. There's no need for heavy customization or further duplication. You'll simply have to set up filters to help your friends and family have a specific view to see only their own success plan items, and etc. The cons obviously are that your database will be exposed to your friends on the leaderboard, and there's a potential they may accidentally change your entries, right? And you'll actually will be only sharing one daily quest, as well as database. One database for everything, for all your inputs, including daily quests. Okay, so that's where it's perhaps there's some cons there if you use the first method. But who's it good for? Definitely couples, who have shared tasks to do, who often have shared tasks to do. Again, the big beauty of it is you can have multiple people on the same task. So let me put that one more, is that can have multiple people rewarded for the completion of the same task. Okay, so that's the main thing. So anybody who has shared tasks to do, really, it's going to be helpful, and also having like workplace settings, so like colleagues, etc. So projects, project colleagues, etc. So actually colleagues working on projects together. And asking, is there any cost to those sharing like in method 1? So again, there's no real cost here because you can invite people as a guest, and that's obviously free with Notion's plan. And again, if you are using, actually I want to put that somewhere here, I'm not sure where. I'm just gonna put it down here for a second. If you are only working with up to 3 people in your workspace, you will not need to customize the leaderboard database other than personalization. So that's important. That's a very good tip I have for you, because again, like I mentioned before, I made it super easy for you. Okay, so let's talk about the steps, shall we? And again, if you guys are just following us now, I'm going to show you the steps of step 1 of how you would get someone to join your workspace, but specifically work with you together on your one master success plan and one master daily quest, and etc. Okay, how does that work? Let's go back to the back end. Let's just go straight up to the back end, and you can make a decision from here. The first decision you're going to want to make is say, hey, do I want them to have access over everything? Do I want them to see everything that is currently here inside our backend, right? Do I want them to see everything? And if the answer is yes, okay, then you will have to go and ensure that you are giving them the access on this whole page. So you click share, and then you click, add people to this workspace, and you have to make sure you give them edit access. You don't need to give them full access, but at least give them edit access so they can go in and edit things as they need to. The second step you're going to do is to ensure that they have the dashboards that they need to edit things. This is my example for L control, so that shows everything, of course. And if you like to give them access, you have to duplicate all these dashboards. Okay, you're going to duplicate the make life simple, the daily planning, the alignments, the review cycles, everything that you want them to also see. You need to duplicate it. Okay, so sorry, not duplicate, but you need to give them access. Okay. And then duplicate it so that they have their own version. They can have their own filters, because obviously when you have your own filters, you guys are not going to be able to work together. And of course they might have different ways that they like to see their own tasks. So how that would work is simply very simple. For any dashboards, all you have to do is click duplicate like this. So right click duplicate, and then you immediately have a duplicate dashboard, in this case for Make Life Simple, which is just the database that helps you get started on work, right? You can see everything in terms of your success plan, in terms of your daily quests. So what's important here, as I mentioned, if you're doing the first option, the daily quests will be the same. You guys will be working off of the same daily quest. Again, it might be helpful if you're a couple, otherwise might not be. Of course, if you're working on works things. But what you can do for the success plan, what you can do is you can start filtering out only the things that have you on it. So what would I mean? I can add a filter here that says only if the tags, okay, contains the YA, right? The 25-minute task YA. So what happens when I do that is it makes sure that only the things that I want to work on are showing up in my view. This is so important because this makes it so that you can work on the things that you need to work on while having the exact same database that your friends are on. And of course, again, the only danger is if anybody ever goes to the master database, they can see everybody's things and they can accidentally mess around with other people's task and relation and everything. But essentially, anytime you see any database that doesn't have a filter yet, you should definitely add a filter that contains your own tag, so that from then on, maybe I'll just scroll down a bit so you guys can see. Sorry, my face is blocking. But from then on, all the tags will only encapsulate, like all the tasks that show up, or all the goals, or all the key results, everything that will show up, it will only show up you. So that's the first step for that. And I will write that down so that you also see what I'm talking about. Give me a quick second and I'll make sure you get that. So let's talk about how. Step one, you're going to go to the back end and decide whether or not you are giving your leaderboard participants full edit access over your workspace, over all your databases, or only the specific ones where you are collaborating on. Okay. The second thing is duplicate the important view dashboards. They need to manage their own tasks, etc. And then the third step, which is also very important, is after you duplicate them, is set the filters in Success Plan, Knowledge Hub, perhaps, or not Knowledge Hub. I think Success Plan is the main one. So set this filters in Success Plan to only show the tasks, key projects, key results, goals with your tag in them. Okay, so that's the very important things. So that's how you would do it. Now, I also want to share with you, I guess, the second way of doing things. And the second way of doing things is going to be a bit more complex, I will say. You're gonna have to follow along very attentively, so do keep an eye out. But there is added advantages. There's the advantage that they can see your database, but they won't be able to edit your database. And I think for people who worry about database, like data randomly going missing, again, not out of anything malicious, but just by accident, right? Oh, I deleted something. It's very useful to kind of save that and prevent that from happening. So I do want to ensure that that process is taught to you. So let me show you how that kind of works. So previously I mentioned to you that gamification tags, if I open this up, actually has the section that calculates all of YA stuff, right? Which is great. It calculates everything with YA. And also I've given you something that helps you start calculating all of MF and all of CL. So all you have to do, right? I'm going to explain this through words first, and I'll show you by action. All you have to do is duplicate the two inputs that's coming in. So one's coming in from the success plan and one's coming in from the daily quest. The moment that you duplicate these two inputs, you can start relating the new database in and just simply start relating everything together. Start rolling up everything that makes sense for each one. Right now, if I open them up, they're not actually doing anything. Oh, sorry, that was a YA. But if I open this up, there's no existing property, right? So let me show you how to do that. Very quick, easy steps. And hopefully you guys don't get lost as I go through this, okay? So I mentioned that in the back end, all you have to do is just duplicate the success plan and the daily quest. But it's not so simple as just that, because the success plan itself also has many relations. And the issue when you do duplications in any of these tools, whether it be Notion or Airtable or Coda or any of these tools that allow relations, is that if it has relations to even other databases, it will create a duplicate relation inside the other database. So for example, here we have duplication, here we have not duplications, but we have relations to a lot of things, right? We have relations to recurring workflows, we have relations to, tags, we have relations to, the knowledge hub, the research. There's a lot of relations that are tied in with this, and I'll actually share with you a flow chart that will help you understand this more in the future. But for now, all you have to know is that if you're duplicating the success plan and daily quest, you're probably duplicating everything inside the BI tracker databases as well. The one thing you don't duplicate is going to be your gamification database, okay? Like these ones don't duplicate, okay? But these ones all will. And of course, if you're also giving your friends their own dashboards, you also need to duplicate the gamification dashboards as well, or the be intentional dashboards, whichever version you're using. Currently, I'm just showing you using the L control system. So what you'll do here, okay, and what's really important is you need to make sure you duplicate all of these in one go. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that when you duplicate these need to be duplicated at the same time so that when they duplicate, all the relations are tied in together, and only the relations that are tying to leaderboard perhaps, or badges, or item shops, or everything else is duplicated as well. Sorry, I'm not explaining that well. Let me try again. These highlighted ones, you don't want them to have extra relations because they work already very seamlessly together. These non-highlighted ones need the extra relation to tie in with the new set of databases so that they can get the new data from these databases. Okay? Hopefully that makes more sense. Okay. Anyways, if you just follow along, you won't go wrong. But I just wanted to make sure that you did understand if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a new page and I'm gonna call this player 2. Player duplication. Okay, I'm just gonna call it that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag everything here, right? I'm just using again the example from L control. I'm going to drag it into player duplication. Okay. And again, I'm seeing all of these are still here, right? These, weekly quests, blah, blah, blah. These are all things that are, are ones that I want to keep static, okay? Because there's only going to be one loot box, there's only going to be one item shop, there's only going to be one badge, one gamification tags, one leaderboard, okay? So that's how you can think about it. And what you can do here is you can click duplicate. So when you duplicate this page, which encapsulates all the different system components, that essentially helps you duplicate it all in one go, which keeps the relations intact. And this might take a little while because obviously this is almost everything in the database. So we'll give it a few minutes to make sure that everything works as it should. But there's a lot of pros in here. Maybe I'll spend this time to actually go into the article and add the pros. Well, actually, I saw that was done, but I will come into here and add the pros. So the pros for this, okay, I want to make sure that you are very aware, is that you can make your own databases view only so that your leaderboard participants won't be able to edit your inputs. And the other pro is that you can have a cleaner workspace where your master databases only include your own data. You don't need to make new views to see each other, to see only your own data. And then obviously the cons are that there is more upfront work to be done to set up the space. Okay. So coming back here, it looks like it's done. So what happens is that there's a new copy of player duplication. And I'm trying to think about the best way to do this. I think the best way to do it would be something like this. Okay. And I probably will create like a better interface to show you guys exactly, like, that makes this a lot easier. But let's make this a bit fun. Okay. So let's turn this into text, this page into text, which basically just brings out all these databases out into clear view, which is great. Helps me see everything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all the old things back into the database, right? Because I want to make sure that everything's back in. So perhaps I'm going to make a new view. I'm going to make a table view here. And then I'm going to throw it in. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into text as well. And then this is the old player one stuff, and I'm just going to drag that back into this database so that we can have it back in here. Boom. You can see all the relations are still there, but the components, you start losing information on the components. I think it's not a bad thing, right? You can still see everything that's there. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but essentially everything becomes, in this no component section. Anyways, it's just something that you have to know, and you'll be able to find that later. It's not a big deal. But what happens is that you now have a new duplicates of all these things that matter. So what I want to do quickly first is just make sure that they're organized. So I might just create another systems table. So I'm going to call it system table. Let's call it player to systems. Okay. And then I'm just going to drag all this stuff into here, into this table. Oh, okay. Actually, let me undo that. And let me delete this for a second. I think the best thing for me to do is also just to... Actually, guys, I think there might be even a better way to do this, now that I'm thinking about it. If that's the only thing that stays static, I should just duplicate this database instead. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, guys, bear with me for a second. I actually want to see if that works, because if that works, this is a much better way. And again, I'm learning every day with you guys at the same time, so I'm excited by that. Okay, let me undo everything. Let's undo anything more. Okay, actually. Okay, I'm gonna use the other version of the system. So I'm gonna use my other demo, which is great. I made two demos for this exact reason, which is awesome. Okay, so what I'm thinking about here is if only the gamification databases don't need to change, I just rather do this. So I'm gonna call this player one system. I'm gonna rename that to player one system. I'm going to drag the gamification databases to its own space. So I'm gonna just make a new page here, and I'm gonna say this is just gamification databases. Okay. And what happens is I'm just going to drag all this stuff into here. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to duplicate this whole thing. I think that will work. I think that solves all the problems that I just discussed there. Wow. That's powerful, guys. I like it. Let's see if it works though. Let's see after it loads, and let's see if that works better. And actually thinking about it, I should probably just duplicate the entire page. Yeah, okay. If we figure out this works, then that's good. And then we can figure out how to do it better for next time. Because this is actually very powerful and this is much faster. Wow, it does work. Okay. Okay, so let's just show you how this works. So basically we have a player 2 system here. Okay, player 2 system. And what you can do for this player 2 system essentially is that you'll see that everything is exactly the same. So if I open up Make Life Simple, it looks exactly the same as the other Make Life Simple, right? But the difference is, and I want to show you the difference, okay? So if I open this up, you can see that this is relating to player 2 simple, or player 2 system. And then if I open up, let's say the success plan that's inside this view, okay? Open success plan. This should also be in player 2 system. So that's perfect. So this is the player 2 success plan, okay? That has no relation to the player 1. Where the connection comes in, and where I want you guys to make sure you guys understand, where the connection comes in is inside the gamification databases. So if I open that up now, right? Again, this is something that I talked about previously. And I open up the leaderboard now, and not the leaderboard rather. If I open up the gamification tags, and I show you guys this gamification tags, essentially what we're going to see is that there's a new relation that's going to be pointing in. So if I open up, let's say the 25-minute task MF, okay, you can see that there's, oh, that's perfect, it's already there. You can see that there's two related relations that are brand new, related to daily quest, related to success plan. So what we're going to do is just simply drag this up to here. And then we're also going to drag this up to here so that it shows in the My Friends section, the MF section. And I'm going to rename this. And it's very easy to renaming. I'm just going to rename it into the same way that, actually I'm going to do it this way, following how it looks here. I'm just going to rename this exactly the same way. So before it was YA Success Plan. So I'm going to call this MF Success Plan. MF Success Plan. Before this was YA Daily Quest. Now it's going to be MF Daily Quest. MF Daily Quest. And what happens is, oh, where's this? Needs to be YMF. What happened there? Try this again. MF Success Plan. Oh, already is here. What's happening? What happened here? Sorry, I'm just going to refresh the page, make sure it's not just lagging from my side. Okay, so there's that, and then there's one more. I renamed the wrong one. Sorry about that. This is multiplier. Ha ha ha. Okay, got it. I renamed the wrong thing. So this was MF, Success Plan, EXP multiplier. And then this relation that I'm going to rename, which is MF Success Plan. Okay? So what does this mean? Well, this means that anything that now relates in. So let's go back to the other page, right, that we had, and we can start seeing the player 2 success plan. So let's go into there, our player 2 success plan. You can see this all relates to player 2 system. Very beautiful. I'm very happy about that. That's a much easier way, I think, than you guys can do. But I can go to tasks, for example, right? I go to task and I can see all these different tasks and they're all related to YA. Let's just change them all in one go to relate to MF, okay? Just as an example. But of course, as you create new things, you don't have to do this anymore. You'll just have the MF. And of course, you would have to also change the templates to fit MF instead of YA. But hear me out. So I paste all those MF into here. What happens inside the gamification tags is that instantly inside MF, you see all these things that are here, but it's still not tallying up the numbers to give me my experience points. That's a very simple thing to change. So again, if you can see up here, there's the Y success plan that shows multiplier and sum. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say for MF success plan, I want to show the multiplier. I can just search multiplier and I want to calculate the sum. And then for this one, again, I'm just going to copy from above. It says difficulty number and sum. I'm going to do that. So again, MF success plan. I'm going to say difficulty number and I'm going to sum it up. Immediately, I already have two numbers that are going to give me experience points and gold. Let's already take a look right now, okay? Actually, before I take a look, let's add this link first. So same thing for daily quest, okay? It's again, multiplier, sum, difficulty number, sum. It's very repetitive, very easy. So I think it's very, very good, okay? So MF, it's daily quest. I'm going to say multiplier. And then we're going to say sum. Simple as that. Same thing here. We're going to say MF daily quest. We're going to say difficulty number. And then also we're going to say sum. So what happens here is that we can already see if we go into the leaderboard, we can already see that there is, let's open the leaderboard up. Let's say visual. Because of the way that the system currently works, it's showing everybody, but you can already see that MF is level 2. They've earned 1,000 experience points and your avatar is at level 4, right? And why is that? Where's that number coming from? Well, that's because right here you see 1,000, right? And 2,700 gold. Why there's differences, even though it's a duplicate database, is because and only because we haven't linked up all the daily quests yet. So one more thing that you have to do is you have to go to your player 2 system, right? And then you're also going to want to go into here and ensure that you have the, here, let me just do it, the daily quest. And then you also want to change the daily quest, change it all view. And you can see the tag here is also for YA. You just simply also need to change here to MF and then you're done. It's actually as simple as that. So if I wanted to, I will clip this video later for people to have a more streamlined understanding. But all you have to do is just copy that and then you drag all the way down, right? And you paste it. And then instantly inside gamification tags, you'll see that you've earned more experience points. We're gonna let it load for a second. You might not because it hasn't added in yet. Actually, it does make sense that it is not there simply because we haven't finished anything in daily quest. So let's say if I go to today's date, for me today's date is April the 10th. So if I go to April the 10th and I start filling some stuff out, let's say I just start filling some stuff out. I say I woke up on time, made my bed, drank water, meditated. Instantly, this moves to 1100, which is beautiful. Amazing. So that's actually a really good hack, guys, that I think will save you a lot of time and a lot of headache to do this process. I'm going to finish documenting this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm very happy to answer because again, this might not be the most intuitive thing, but I think I've made it simple enough for you to, start adding people in and then really building those dashboards that make sense to you, that can see not just yourself, but you see your friends and family play together. And you can even create some really awesome dashboards that I might do on stream in the future that I currently use in my family, which is, a recent wins dashboard, right? Show you like all the recent wins that you've done, that your family or friends have done as well. What projects have they been stuck on because it's been delayed, it's been open for a long time. Just really building anything you want, and maybe we'll make that the sequel for this live stream. So yeah, ask any questions. I'm just gonna finish up writing this process up. If you want me to go through it one more time, I can. I'll make a brand new database. I'll do it in a very snappy, fast way. Do let me know if you want that, so we can have like a final conclusion that explains everything very, very clearly. So let me just do this. That's the two separate entry databases. You can make your own databases view only. You can have a cleaner workspace where your master databases only include your own data, and you don't need to make new views to see your own data. You don't need to customize new views for leaderboard participants. There's more upfront work to do to set the space. Maybe this is going to take roughly 5 minutes. I'm going to add this here. Awesome. There's more upfront work, and then the how, which is going to be very simple actually. Oh, who's it good for? Anybody who wants to have a shared gamification workspace with their friends and family. I think this is the most generic one. Awesome. And then the how is very simple. Navigate to the backend and views and move the gamification databases to a new page. Duplicate the system, rename the system to rename our duplicate the backend and views page for your friend. And then give them permissions to edit the backend and views, and then give them permissions to view the gamification or to edit the gamification databases. And as simple as that, I think. Oh no, actually, sorry, not as simple as that, but connect the gamification tags with the new relations. Okay, so let me duplicate a new version of the L control, so I can have another version to start from scratch with you guys. I think that'll be really, really fun. So do give me a second. I'm going to just duplicate a new version, because I think that practice makes perfect, and if I'm able to show this once or twice, I think you guys will really get it, and hopefully, be able to invite your friends and family into this space. It is very easy. I just showed you how easy it can be, simply because a lot of the upfront work has been already developed. So yeah, I'll just finish that up and then we'll call the stream a day. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It's been fun. Let's see how this will work. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close this. Okay, there's one more thing. Change the gamification tag for the corresponding user for success plan and daily quests. Change the templates optional. for success plan to relate to autofill the new players tags. All right, awesome. And I'm going to now get into the new demo version. So I just made a duplicate. So let's go. I will drink water and then let's explain this, okay? All right, guys, if you want to know how the method 2 works in order to add new people into your workspace to have a shared gamified collaborative experience, here's how it works. First, all you have to do is go into the backend and views and simply start moving out the gamification databases to a new page. So what I'll do is I just need to do /page, and then we're going to call this gamification databases. I'm going to go back. I'm going to drag all these into that said gamification database. And then I'm going to drag this into my main master page. So what happens is in my master page at the bottom, I now have this gamification databases. I can now put this on the side here if I like. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to duplicate this backend in views. So I'm going to right click, duplicate. Now, if I just duplicate like that, actually, I won't be giving them the build your own system, which is a problem. The build your own system is also important for any new player who's coming in to understand the system to its full extent. So what you can do here is you can also drag, I guess, the backend views next to this. I'm going to make yet another new page. Okay, and we're going to call this player 1. Okay, so player 1 has the build your own system and the backend and views, but does not include the gamification databases. Okay, so I'm going to also just put this here, and perhaps I'll add a divider just so that there's some spacing here. I can know that I don't duplicate that. I'm going to right click this. I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to give it a little bit because it's going to take some time. It's a very big system and we are duplicating almost everything, especially if you're using the out control system. So when you duplicate this, what you're essentially doing is you're giving your new player a version of all the databases they need to level up, but all the things that are going to be connected inside the gamification database that are going to help you link up all the experience points, all the gold, everything that, is relating between all the different databases, the connection points, is going to be still intact with one database. And this one database will connect to all of them, which is going to be really nice. And I'll show you how to do that right after this is finished duplicating. So there's a lot of, important things to do once this is done, and it is done now. So I'm going to rename this. I'm going to call this player 2. And when I go into player 2, there's a few things that I want to do immediately, okay? The first thing I want to do is just to make sure that everything is tied up nicely. I want to make sure that everything is properly relating to each other. So what I mean by that is if I go to, let's say, make life simple, and let's say I go to daily quest, okay? Is it relating to player 2 or player 1? If it's in player 2, it's already working. That's great. That's the first thing I need to check. The second thing I'd like to check is I want to check if let's say if the success plan is relating properly. So I go into here, I check the success plan. Success plan is also relating properly. Perfect. I am very happy with that because it means everything is working as it should, and I can go to the next stage. Well, what is the next stage? Well, the next stage is to go back to the main page, okay? And then I go into my gamification databases. I go to gamification tags, and then I expand this open. And then I can start seeing that, hey, we can look at, let's say, the 25-minute task. And I have 2 new relations. Whenever you have a new relations that made from a duplication of a template, you see it's called related to blank. These are just the default wordings that they have. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag this up to this section, to the MF section, because that's the My Friends section. And of course, if you're making a third person, you can just drag up to the CLS section. And what you want to do is just you want to rename them to its corresponding. So this is MF Success Plan, and this is MF Daily Quests. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this, Boom. I'm also going to copy from above. So if here it says, I want the success plan, multiplier sum. Next thing is I want the success plan, difficulty sum. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Success plan for MF, multiplier, okay? And then the calculation is sum. For here, it's going to be success plan, difficulty number, and then it's going to be sum as well. For daily quest, the exact same thing, except it's daily quest. So daily quest, multiplier, and then this is sum. For this, it's daily quest. This is going to be difficulty number, and this is going to be sum. Perfect. So what's the next step? The next step is now I'm going to open up the player 2, okay? And then I'm going to make sure that all the existing data, right, that I want to use as examples, and of course you'll end up adding your own data later on as well. But for example, the daily quests, right? If I go to daily quests, I want to make sure that all my daily quests are for MF, not for YA anymore, right? So what I do here is I'll just close that and I'll say, okay, this is now a task for MF. It's a 25-minute task. And then I'm going to scroll down and then I'm going to paste that. So I copy and I pasted all of that tag to make sure that it's all relating to MF. And essentially all that means is that every time you complete one quest, one daily quest, I'm assuming that that is equivalent to one 25-minute task done. Okay, it's just good, easy to calculate rewards. The next thing I'm going to do is, again, go back to the player 2 system. I am now going to change one more thing, which is our success plan. Again, you probably would delete all the existing data just because, and how you would do that is you can delete demo data. You can just delete all the data. But for now, just to show you the example of how I would, just if I had things I would want to migrate, I would want to make sure that, for example, if I go to my tasks and you want to go to every single section, you want to change the tags to make sure that they're referring to not YA, but MF. And in the future, if you're making your third person, CL, right? Because everything's already set up for you. So in this case, let me just do a few quick examples. So again, in here, instead of YA, I'm going to now choose the equivalent for MF, just like that. I can copy and paste and just change the ones that I want to change. Again, you probably would not have the exact same success plan items for both players, but I'm just showing you as an example, like what you need to change, what you need to make sure at least for your new database is different, right? So again, I only changed the 25-minute ones to the YA, from the YA to the MF, and the 5-minute one, I also have a similar MF one, okay? Great. So the last thing you want to do is also make sure that your templates are changed, because otherwise your templates will always still, whenever you make a new task quest, it would still create one in the YA, which is wrong. Okay. By the way, I'm just going to hide the property so that it's more clean. So what you want to do is you want to change the template so that whenever you generate a new task or a new key result or a new goal, it's actually pointing to the MF one instead. So you would do it for the task, right? You would do it for the key results. So instead of a big win YA, it's going to be a big win MF. And then you can go to the goal, and then you can make this a big win for, let's see, we're going to make this a just MF, and it's going to be a big win. Okay. Final step. Okay. Final step is if I go into the gamification tags again, and I can show you guys, hey, now there's real data flowing in. Okay. There's around 900 XP, total goal 2,600. So if I go into now the leaderboard, okay, and the leaderboard is important. Why? It's because the leaderboard is where you're going to start personalizing. You want to personalize for each player, right? You're not all going to be called just my friend and your avatar. You're going to have names. You're going to have pictures that represent what that, avatar means to you. So when that happens, right? Now that you've set up everything, go into here and change the names of the players that are now playing. Your avatar becomes your name with your face, with your little GIF if you like. My friend becomes their name, their face, and their GIF. And again, you don't have to change the leaderboard if you are only working up to 3 players because I've already created all the templates for you. You don't need to worry about anything. You just need to do the steps I just shared. I think it was just 5 minutes, right? Simple. Connect everything and then start from there. That's it, guys. I mean, it's relatively simple. Also, of course, when you change the leaderboard names, also change the names inside here. So if your initials are not YA, change that. And if your initials are not MF, change that as well. That's it. I'm so excited to finally share this with you guys. I think it's so much easier now with the new way that we build our systems with the whole backend and all. I really think it's much more streamlined. I will complete the article to explain all these steps again, hopefully with relevant clips from this video to kind of piece together what I've just shared. But yeah, I'm just so happy and glad I'm getting the opportunity to share this with you guys. Thank you for joining me on this stream. If it was useful for you, please drop a like and stay tuned. Join us for our next build.